For the last 3 years, I have been building my first company, CDB London. And now that that chapter is coming to a close, I wanted to share 3 of the biggest mistakes I have made as an entrepreneur, as a first-time entrepreneur, and how you can avoid those costly and oftentimes painful mistakes. A couple days ago, I posted a video talking about the Technics earbuds that I have been testing out. And I've been testing them out for a few weeks now, and I wanted to give you an update. Guys, I love them. And I wanted to tell you more about my experience over the last few weeks.
So a lot of you may be more used to seeing me in this kind of setting with a mic in front of my mouth for the To My Sisters podcast. And as we have been taking a break in between season 2 and season 3, I've actually been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to try and improve our audio and visual quality so that we can bring you a bigger and better podcast for season 3. In doing that though, I've been having to do a lot of listening and tweaking, a lot of revising the audio that we already have, as well as testing out new audio equipment and new audio software so that we can bring a better quality podcast. And this can sometimes be difficult to do with earphones because every earphones kind of sound different. And especially as somebody who has to edit long form content like podcasts, which can sometimes, me and Renee can talk. Y'all know that. We could talk a lot. And so sometimes some of the raw footage or the raw sound files are like an hour and a half long, and I have to cut that down. So I'm often listening over and over and over again to find the best bits to put in the episode. And using these Technics earbuds have been the most comfortable experience I have had with earbuds. Earbuds, I'm not gonna lie, when you're wearing them for so long can really feel claustrophobic. It can feel very it can almost give you a headache. And I've noticed for myself that as I've been sitting here wearing these over the last few weeks, they haven't been giving me that, which is really great for me because lights, computer screen, and then earphones giving you all a headache is not the one. So I always keep my water handy, but also having a good comfortable set of earbuds really helps. And I think that's because they have 7 size tips that they send you so that you can actually test out what size works best. The size that I was using initially were really, really good, but I found better sized ones, and that's literally how fine-tuned the sizing is in the options that they give you. But like I said, sound quality is great, noise cancelling is absolutely amazing, and being able to hop on calls, hear everyone so clearly has just made my days go so much smoothly. These are the little things that you have within a really busy day that you don't really notice, but they actually make your day a whole bunch better. And so if you want to hear more information about these great sounding earbuds, I will leave a link in my description box that will take you straight to the Technics website so you can read up more and maybe even buy the EAH AZ60 earbuds. Thank you so much to Technics for allowing me to test out these earbuds. It has been a great experience. Maybe I'm jumping into my tech review bag. Okay.
Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you are all doing well. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the top 3 mistakes I made as a first-time entrepreneur. And I wanted to just have a really transparent and honest conversation talking about the things that I did wrong so that you can actually get it right. I feel like these videos are really important because they help you to kind of get a fast track. If you know the mistakes that I made in building my company, then you hopefully will avoid making those mistakes in building your company or your side hustle. So I'm going to share those with you today. Take notes. Let's get started. So a little bit about my first company. My first company was called, or is called, CDB London, which stands for the Create and Define Beauty Company. And I had this dream to build this company when I was about 16 years old. If you go back on my channel, you'll see a video about my whole career journey. And I talk about how I started off at 13, 14 years old, doing other people's hair as a side hustle. So I was a hairstylist doing braids, wigs, relaxers, things like that, cornrows, stuff like that. And I would go from house to house to do it. And before I went off to university, I actually worked in a couple of salons. And that's when I started to specialize in sew-ins and wigs and styling wigs and coloring wigs. And I became kind of like a wigologist. And it was actually a very great skill for me to have because when I moved into university, I did pause doing hair for a little bit because I was studying, and I didn't plan to do hair full-time, long time. It was literally just something I did because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing my own hair, but also was a great way to make money at the time. Got to my third year of university, things got a little bit sticky financially, and so I decided to take up wig making again and fell in love with it because it was something I could do on my own time, and I just genuinely loved making other people feel beautiful and delivering them a really good service. Whilst at university, I actually worked at a beauty startup, and it gave me the opportunity to see the business side of building a big hair and beauty company. And it was an amazing experience. I was an office babe, you know, going into central London and stuff like that. And I had never really experienced that side of the hair industry in terms of logistics, operations, sourcing, building a team, marketing, creative branding, all of that. And that was a great insight for me. And so I kind of meshed my love of all of that businessy stuff with my love for actually doing hair and my, you know, my community and clients that I already had. I was able to build on top of that to actually make a business. So in 2018, I started my own hair company, the Create and Define Beauty Company, which had the simple aim of making hair easy. As a hairstylist and as a consumer of hair, I have experienced so many struggles when it comes to getting a good wig, and I didn't understand why it was so hard. Why was customer service so bad? Why was all the hair so crap? Well, like all of these logistics, why did I have to go to multiple places? Like go here to get a closure, go here to get bundles, go here to get the wig actually made, go here to actually camera my hair. Why couldn't I bring that all into one company? And that is how my company was birthed, out of that pain. Now, don't get me wrong, the last 3 years have been amazing. I have been self-employed for 3 years, which is an accomplishment in itself, but also I was able to build a 6-figure company pretty much on my own. I didn't have any investment or anything like that. And it was really a testament to me that you can actually make your dreams a reality. And I was so proud of myself to be able to do that. Don't come from an entrepreneurship kind of home or anything like that. Like, I was really out in the dark on this one and everything worked out, but I did make a few mistakes. And so I wanted to share those with you. The first one being, I did not write a business plan. I know everyone's like, before you start a business, write a business plan. I just thought to myself, nah, I'm not really the planning type. But you know what they say, fail to plan, plan to fail. And I cannot lie to you. I wouldn't say I failed necessarily, but the journey was made a whole lot harder because I didn't have a clear vision of the steps that I was actually going to take. And the key performance indexes, the key things that I was going to look at to kind of know if the company was going right on its way to establishing the big vision that I had, if that makes sense. So I had a big vision of what I wanted, had a big vision of what the company would look like, but I hadn't really broken that down into what will year 1 look like, year 2, year 3, year 4. The digestible pieces for me to know the company is on the right track, or let's reassess our strategy so that we can optimize and kind of get to our goals faster. I never had anything written down like that. I didn't have, you know, a strategy. I didn't have a plan. I just had a big vision. And vision is absolutely great, but without strategy, how are you going to get there? How are you actually going to build the thing that you're seeing in your dreams? And so I would highly recommend you actually get a business plan. I did write like a short page of a business plan, but I didn't really go back to reassess it and really constantly reiterate it to be relevant to me now. But your business plan is really the guide that you have, and also any staff member or team members or even investors who come along, that is what they'll look at to kind of see where are you now and where are you trying to go and how do you plan on getting there. A lot of people have ideas. You have your idea of what you're trying to build, someone else has an idea of what they are trying to build, and you may not actually be the only one with that idea. However, the person who actually ends up building it is probably the person with the best strategy. And I think that that's one of the biggest downfalls on my part, not actually having a plan, but kind of relying on this passion and this exuberance and this, you know, determination to build a big company. I was relying so heavily on that I forgot that, girl, you got to make a plan. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you got to have a plan. And entrepreneurship is not just about passion. It really is about strategy. It really is about logistics. It really is about operations. That's what turns dreamers into entrepreneurs. People who know how to plan properly, build teams properly, build structures and execute those structures and build those structures to actually sustain their dream. And that wasn't me. I was a hustler like that, and that was the mindset I had. I'm a hustler. I will make money however I can within this business. However, that was not sustainable. And that's the other mistake that I made. I did not think about sustainability. Whew. Let's get into it. Essentially, sustainability is all about building a company that will actually last and thinking about, is what I am doing sustainable for the long term, right? If you're trying to build a company that lasts 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 100 years, right? You've got to think about how this business will actually last pretty much without you. And one thing that I did very wrong, because I was transitioning from being a hairstylist into becoming an entrepreneur, is I still made myself the center of my company. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved being the face of my company. I think because people knew me, they knew my company, they knew my story, it was a great way to kind of just naturally let the company evolve as a branch of myself. So I'm not talking about that from a branding aspect, even though that does have its shortfalls. What I actually mean is that from a logistical standpoint, my company was all about me, my talent, my craft, my skill. I was the wig maker, I was the hairstylist, I was the one who knew all about hair. And I didn't think about the sustainability of, well, if I don't want to work in this company anymore, where's this company going to go? And that's kind of where I find myself now with CDB London. I don't want to work in it anymore. So now what? The company's just not going to work, because the company was so framed and structured around me and my energy and my abilities that now, where is it gonna go? And so I would definitely say my downfall was I was doing pretty much everything. The only thing that I had really was an accountant, like an external accountant, to help me figure out that legal stuff, because I am not trying to go to jail. I realized this is not good. This is actually not good. And listen, at the beginning of starting a company, when you don't have any investment money from anyone, like no friends and family money, no big angel investor money, like you are probably going to have to do a lot of the stuff yourself. I am not denying that. However, you should try and make that period as short term as possible. Because if you start to think, well, I can do everything myself, I can make that graphic, I can manage the Instagram page, I can send out the emails marketing, I can make the products, I can source the products, I can take everything to the post office. Literally, you're going to find that over time, very quickly, you're going to become burnt out, especially if your company grows. And this is one of the biggest limitations on your company's growth, because you become the limit of your company's growth. Your company can only grow as much as you have the energy to grow it, right? So what happens when you have a really busy week and you haven't had a weekend off because you've still been working, and now you're burnt out and now you can't make the products or you can't send out the products, you're tired. What happens when you get sick? What happens if your mental health takes a bad toll? What happens if you desperately need a holiday? What happens if your family needs you? What actually happens is you're gonna have to close the doors of your business every time you need to be absent from your business. And that's a hard way to sustain a business, especially if your company is growing and you don't want to become overwhelmed by your orders. You don't want to have to stay up 72 hours at a time because your company has grown well past the rate of your systems. So focus on creating effective systems. The last thing I would say in terms of a mistake that I have made is very similar to the last point. I didn't make my business separate from me early enough. And what I mean by this is, as an entrepreneur, you still have a life happening around you, right? You're still evolving as a person. I started my company at 21 years old. A lot has changed about me just in the last 3 years, between the age of 21 to 24. Now imagine where I would be and what I'll be thinking, what life would demand from me by the age of 30. Different relationships, different cities, different relationships, moving house, maybe even becoming a parent, all of these different things. I didn't think about how having a business so closely attached to me would impact not just me and like my physical health, but also my finances. I didn't really futurecast far enough. And so, for example, in being an entrepreneur, your finances are organized very differently from someone who is on a normal paycheck. And that was one of the biggest realizations I came to very late on, because it has a lot of like tax implications, and also for your own personal finances, it means it becomes difficult to do things like buy a house. I didn't think about these things early enough, because to me, my business's money was my money, because I was the only one working in my business. And so as much as my business was a separate entity to me, I was the business. But that's not the case. Your business is a separate entity to you, especially if like you're already registered, which I think you should be. Okay. If you don't get it into your mind that your business is a separate entity to you, you don't organize your plans and your future finances in a way that can actually help you and benefit you. It wasn't until the second year of my company that I actually started to pay myself a salary. And it wasn't until the third year of my company that I actually bumped that salary up to like a normal salary amount, like an average salary amount. When I actually bumped up my salary amount, after many conversations with my accountant, I realized I have a whole bunch of tax to pay. And that was really difficult because now my company has to pay loads of tax. I need to still pay myself. Now I'm bringing on contractors. They need to get paid as well. This is all eating into my profit. And this is why it's so important to actually have a business plan, because you can actually track or forecast for these business expenses and how much your company is actually going to cost to run. Because it's very easy when you're in the nitty-gritty of things, doing the day-to-day work of your company, to forget your company really is a machine and it costs money to keep that machine running. And your goal is to make more money than it costs to run that machine. But it's easy to forget that day-to-day, that these expenses and this tip-tapping of your business card and paying this new contractor, buying those new resources, these are all coming out of your business's funds, right? Your company is costing more and more money. How are you replenishing those funds? In bigger company structures, for example, every department has a budget, an amount that they're actually allowed to spend, and they are told, try your best to not go over this amount. And if you do go over that amount, you're going to have a lot of explaining to do. But when your company is so tied to your own personal finances, or you haven't made a really good plan, especially a good financial plan for your company and how much you're going to spend and where you're going to spend that money, it's easy to lose track of all of that. And at the end of the day, especially if you're a solo entrepreneur, you end up only being accountable to yourself. So you don't really face the real hard repercussions of letting your finances slip away until you get hit with a fat bill from the tax man, or you realize that you've made major losses at the end of the tax year. And that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to build things which are sustainable, which actually help us and don't take away from us. And I experienced many times of losing a lot of money because I didn't track those small expenses. I was just buying things for myself, buying things for the company, which would help us get along for the day-to-day, but the big picture of things, it was actually damaging us in the long run. I remember seeing a quote from an entrepreneur once saying, every time you take money out of your business account which you haven't budgeted for, you're really robbing yourself. And that's the truth. You really are robbing yourself. So the same way we can talk about personal financing and personal budgeting, which I've been taking a lot more serious over the last 12 months, is the same way we also have to have an important conversation about business budgeting. Even if it's just you, even if you don't think your company is that big or that major, or you haven't made that many sales yet, dignify your vision, honor your vision by making a budget and a plan. Remind yourself that you have a future which you are working towards. You cannot go absolutely crazy on your spending, okay? Your business is a big investment strategy, right? Investments are all about what? Buying low, selling high, making sure that you actually make a profit, or making sure that this company is working to your advantage. So don't shoot yourself in the foot. So I hope that those 3 mistakes have actually helped you. The last 3 years have had a lot for me to actually reflect on. And if you want to see more content like this, definitely let me know down below in the comment section. If you're an entrepreneur, definitely put in the comment section a mistake that you may have made in the early stages of building your company, or maybe even up until now. Definitely remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this and other lifestyle bits and bobs to follow my journey of glowing and growing in all areas of my life. I will talk to you very, very soon. And as always, stay beautiful and stay blessed. Mwah.